I think it's pretty obvious that they play around their mid and ADC. If their mid and ADC aren't ahead, then they're just a free win.
You know what our plan is.
Mickey's just going to smash Demonte.
Demonte has shown before that he can handle that kind of pressure.
I think after we beat them once, they're going to tilt out of their mind, and it's just going to be a win from there.
And that's going to cost him his life. First blood over to Mickey.
Demonte going to get the kill. EchoFox going to get the turret as well. Flashes in for it, and there it is. First blood for Demonte.
Burn is out, but so is the kill. Mickey's gonna live. How about that?
Damage everywhere. Demonte able to take down Arian. EchoFox, a stroke of genius.
I think we have finals in the bag.
Should be pretty free.
Hello, League fans, and welcome to the 2018 Academy League Playoffs. I'm Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, and they said that robots wouldn't steal our jobs, but watch out, Mark Zimmerman, because today I'm joined by none other than Aiden Zyrene Moon.
Absolutely 100% human.
No robot here whatsoever, at least to my knowledge. Now, after 9 weeks of regular season competition, the top 4 teams remain and will battle one another for that remaining top spot and the title of the first ever Academy League champion. First up, the #1 seed from regulation play, Team Liquid Academy, faces off against 4th place finisher FOXA Academy. And tomorrow, 2nd and 3rd place teams Cloud9 Academy and FlyQuest Academy will meet each other on the Rift.
Yeah, and winners will advance to the finals next week, and all matches from here on out are best of 5 series, and they're played live in the LCS arena on the stage. So we'll get to see how these players perform on stage and how well they adapt to the highs and lows across multiple games.
We'll also be playing on patch 8.5 for the remainder of the season here in Academy League, the same patch these teams played on last week. Now, Kai'Sa's not available, but New Swain is. Hopefully we'll get to see some cool things.
Yeah, not only is it the patch that they played on last week, it's the patch that's going to be going forward for playoffs here and in the LCS. So these teams, remember Academy, they are basically squads underneath the LCS team. And if you're looking for some extra scrim time, if you're looking for a little bit of those hidden strategies, LCS team will be trying to bring those out or test them against Academy teams. Especially, we have most of these guys with their father team, I guess I would say, in the playoffs.
Academy can definitely make for a great proving ground to kind of test these new strategies and ideas and see how it works. But with the business out of the way, let's jump right into the matchup, where first seed EchoFox Academy is taking on Team Liquid. Now, Team Liquid Academy is a squad that's been at the top of the standings all split long in a constant battle for first place between themselves, Cloud9 Academy, and FlyQuest.
Yeah, and it might be a little surprising to see this team finish in first because a lot of criticism was levied at them for looking inconsistent, but a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that they are pretty inexperienced, but also they have unbridled aggression. And the best example of that is their top laner, Viper. This guy, he was pretty much known for being a Riven 1-trick, Rengar 2-trick in the top lane. He might not be the best top laner in Academy by all metrics, but he's definitely the most influential. When he picks carry champions, he can basically carry his entire team, but they have been reluctant, the enemy team has been reluctant to ban his signature picks like the Riven.
Now he faces off against Alorum in the top lane, a former Wukong 1-trick who is determined to shed that label and prove himself as a well-rounded top laner with a wider champion pool. He's found success with the EchoFox organization, going from a last-place challenger squad in Team Gates now to the Academy League semifinal.
Yeah, and you can see at the bottom of your screen there, Viper's champions, Riven, Camille, Yasuo, Lucian, but even Alorum with the Yorick there. So we're seeing a lot of these guys pull out unique champions, and for Alorum, having the support of an organization like EchoFox is great, basically for any level of player, especially pro and up-and-coming stars. So I want to see what he's able to do because that structure is going to benefit him because he has that close proximity to that LCS team, which has Huni on it. And Alorum had an interview earlier where he mentioned that he gets to scrim against Huni, try some things out, and I want to see if he has answers here for the pocket picks that Viper has.
Now, while the matchup in the top lane will definitely play a factor in this series, I think a lot of eyes will also be mid here, where former LCK pro Mickey will be up against Demonte, who saw LCS stage time just this past week.
Yeah, both these guys have pro play experience at the highest level, but they have both been huge contributors to their respective teams throughout the spring split here. Mickey, you can see he's first in a lot of these damage categories and forward percentage, which means the time he's spent in the first 15 minutes being across the middle part of the lane. So he's very aggressive. But then on the flip side, you saw Demonte is right behind him in that forward percentage.
Yeah, he's right behind him in forward percentage. He has really solid laning stats as well, making sure that he's got that CSD. He's got the advantage in terms of farm. And, I mean, you heard our opinions on the TLA solo laners, but now let's go ahead and hear Alorum's thoughts before heading into the match.
Mickey's coming straight from LCK, and a lot of the time he'll dominate the weaker mid laners. But DeMonte has shown before that he can handle that kind of pressure. He has a pretty easy time even dealing with these best mid laners like Keen and Mickey. He holds his own really well. And their other solo laner, Viper, he's really mechanically skilled. But I think if you ban him out a little bit, especially on Riven, it's not too much of a problem. As long as you get him off his signature champion, which I think a lot of teams have been disrespecting, but we're going to respect that for sure.
And, man, it's good to hear that from a team, but at the same time, it's like, I want to see those picks come through from a spectator standpoint, because right now, Viper's most played is the Riven, and if the guy he's going up against in the top lane, Alorum, is saying, we're going to respect that, then I don't know if Viper's going to have as great a time today, but I want to see that clash.
And that's the thing I like to see the most from that little snippet that we got from Alorum. This isn't just the team making a vague statement about how they're going to approach the game. This is the guy whose job is to help contain that carry threat in the top lane, saying, I'm going to respect him and what he can do on those carry picks. So that's a good sign there for Echo Fox Academy. But now, without further ado, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side for Game 1, it's Echo Fox Academy with Alorum in the top lane, Odd Orange in the jungle, DeMonte in mid, Lost bottom, Papa Chow on support, and Coach Peter.
We lost bottom, I guess, actually just a player. And so selecting red side for this game is Team Liquid Academy. In the top lane, it's going to be Viper, Hard in the jungle, Mickey mid, Shoryu bot with support Joey, and Tim Kuro as the coach.
Now, the biggest thing, or at least one of the biggest things I'm excited for and what we're going to see from these playoffs, Irene, is the fact that although there are some names that we've seen play in the upper echelons of the competitive pro experience before, we already talked about DeMonte and we talked about Mickey, a lot of these players are still new to the competitive scene. And seeing how well they adapt, how well they perform in a best of 5 here on the LCS stage, as opposed to playing best of 1s and playing from your home, it's going to be a lot to sort of improvise on, a lot to adapt to, and I want to see how they handle it.
Yeah, we heard earlier when they were talking about it, it's kind of Lost and DeMonte are the big carries for Echo Fox Academy, and then on Team Liquid Academy, it's Viper and Mickey. So you take out those two guys in the mid who have that pro experience, you look at Viper and you look at Lost. Those are the two guys I have my eyes on here, seeing if they can step up, because playing on stage is a very different beast than playing at home or playing in your facility.
All right, let's see how these teams are going to start their experience playing on stage as we get into Champion Select for the first time of the day, the first of potentially 5 between these two squads. Echo Fox Academy beginning with bans against Riven and Swain. Alorum wasn't kidding. Riven, the first ban for this Echo Fox team, not allowing Viper on to that former one-trick champion of his. Still obviously a very popular pick, his most played so far this split. The response from Team Liquid Academy, they're looking at Lost, what you were talking about. I mean, if you take DeMonte out of the equation, the guy who has the LCS experience, you're looking at Lost to be the carry potentially here, and they're going to ban both Caitlyn and Xayah away from him.
And that's what it looks like they're trying to do here. Maybe a ban towards something like Ryze. I think the jungle is wide open right now. Skarner, Olaf, a lot of champions in there, Sejuani, and the Yorick. So the respect, thrown the other way too.
And now Alorum, of course, has to flourish that old signature pick of his own.
He's got to hover the Wukong.
He'll hover it. I don't think he's going to be locking that one in.
No.
He's been pretty vocal on social media about how the champion's not in a good spot right now, so instead we'll see Echo Fox Academy picking up something a little bit more in the meta, grabbing the Olaf.
Yeah, Olaf seems to be that top-tier jungler where he's got great wave clear, or at least jungle clear. Then he has really good gank potential early with Predator, and he can really actually counter Skarner and match Skarner in a lot of aspects.
Yep.
Definitely falls off, though, in the later game team fights, but junglers are usually picked, or at least the prime jungler is picked for that early game control.
See how Team Liquid Academy responds to this one. They want to go with their AD carry first. They're saying, all right, we targeted the AD carry pool ourselves. We're going to target it further by now securing our own pick, and they'll grab that Skarner you were talking about.
Yeah.
Both of these run-at-you junglers that are very strong right now, largely thanks to the Predator rune you'll likely be seeing them running, and just the fact that things seem to favor their playstyle.
Yeah, the fact that they went with the Kog'Maw and they banned out 2 AD carries makes a lot of sense. Remember, Tristana did get range nerfs and also got a boost to her rocket jump damage, so it kind of changed how Tristana plays in the lane phase and makes her a little less favorable to take. So right now, in terms of lane bullies, you got to go a little bit further down. But for Fox Academy, they picked the Ryze. They picked that Tom Kench to kind of counter the Skarner. It's Skarner's bad day right now.
It's such a tilter because of the fact that you can still save someone with the Tom Kench Devour, even if they're in Skarner's net. The Skarner has to be so very aware of exactly where that target is. If Kench is anywhere nearby, it's going to be Skarner who gets put on the bench when he uses that big cooldown ulti for no effect whatsoever. The response from Team Liquid Academy, they say, you've got your mid laner, we've got ours too. They take the Cassiopeia into the Rise.
Yeah, Cassiopeia is still considered that counter to the Rise, but Rise is just so dominant right now. And then I love this from TLA, where they banned 2 more AD carries. Jhin had popped up in that last day of LCS. Not even the week 9, day 1. It was day 2 where Jhin really did pop up, and everybody was starting to play it. And so they banned that away, and that pool is just very pinched down. Remember, Kai'Sa is disabled, so even she is not a pick here.
You're not allowed to pick that. You're not allowed to pick a lot of these staples. I am going to be super curious as to what Fox will go with here. They focus the support role in the second round of the bans, getting rid of both the Taric and the Braum. Team Liquid Academy says, okay, both of those champions are pretty good at protecting an AD carry like Kog'Maw, but you know what? Janna is too. They picked that one up.
Pick up the Janna for Joey. This guy, remember when he subbed in for, I believe, CLG, he played the Janna and Afromu played the AD carry role. And now we're seeing, since that AD carry was pinched, Lost has to go with the Ashe here. Tristana's kind of the other pick that's kind of left up. But there's just been so much taken out that he does have to drop down to kind of an engaged champion, which I think does work against the Janna. Hard engaging against squishy champions is fantastic.
Not just squishy champions, but champions that also don't have a way to easily avoid the arrow. I mean, you're looking at, ideally, trying to hit a Cassiopeia or a Kog'Maw here. There's no way to blink out of the way of that, dash out of the way of that. It's not something built into the kits of the champion, so if Lost has that true aim, he can manage to set his team up for some successes here. Team Liquid Academy now thinking about that last pick of the day, for game 1 at least. What's it going to be? The Gnar, locked in for the top lane battle against Cho'Gath.
That's actually really interesting because I'm looking at Viper's played. He played Riven 6 times, Camille 4, Lucian 2, Yasuo 2, Gnar 1 time. Gnar was pretty much considered that champion that everybody goes for the lane bully up top. And TLA, they picked red side. They had side selection since they finished number 1. And so they wanted to get counterpick top, and this is what they've selected against the Cho. But the Cho is pretty stalwart top lane.
Exactly. You can try to bully him around early, but as the game goes on, he's still going to get very tanky. He's still going to have the feast, and Gnar needs to make sure he gets ahead. We talk about Team Liquid Academy likely going to be trying to win through these solo lanes because these players are the ones who seem to be so aggressive and seem to be the ones setting the pace of the game. I'm looking at them specifically with the jungler and the mid laner to try to help Viper get going, get that lane in a good spot.
And if he can start split pushing, it'll bode very well for them because looking at those compositions, TLA, they want to have the Gnar split push, possibly join when he has Mega Gnar, but the rest of the team, this looks like group fight. You have a lot of sustained damage between the Kog'Maw and Cassiopeia, and then you have the Janna to peel. So TLA, it looks like team fighting and a little bit of split push, whereas Echo Fox, looks like the Academy team is set up for kind of a counter here with the bottom lane and hard engage, trying to make sure that they can't get split pushed to death and instead find ways to make some plays.
Now, one thing you talked about at the beginning of this was how junglers are often picked for their early game and how they can perform in affecting the game during the lanes and getting everybody going and setting things up for the way you want them to be as we approach the mid game and the late game. And for Olaf specifically, he does so well against Skarner. Once you hit level 6, his ult counters the Skarner ult, and he's one of the few champions that can fight Skarner in those spires.
Yeah, because he gets more attack speed the lower he gets, it just feels really good as that Olaf. You match the clear speed, you match the speed in which he can duel, and then you can also get about the same amount of ganks off. And he's not level 6 dependent as well on the Olaf. You don't have to go for the fast farm, but you can do that. It's another option that's available to you.
All right, as we get into game, on to Summoner's Rift for the first time today, we see everybody taking those lines of scrimmage just being drawn across the entirety of the map. We don't have any audacious level 1 invades. Nobody's trying to flex their muscles on their opponents this early on. Nobody wants to risk potentially having something really crazy happen that offsets everything and messes up the early game strategy. So we'll see a lot of defensive positioning, just making sure those vision lines aren't placed too deep into your own territory.
Yeah, just make sure that they don't get extra information. They go ahead and trade Spires 1 for 1. Where's Hard going to start? Because Skarner has the luxury of starting on either side. Same thing with Olaf.
Yeah, Skarner can start pretty much wherever he wants. You don't even need a leash, to be fair, because of the fact that you have such effective clear and you stay rather high HP because of the ability to spam your shield once you grab the levels to have all of your abilities. So Hard will start off here in the bottom part of the map at his blue buff. You'll see Odd Orange start off at the blue of his own. Olaf pretty much needing to start with the blue buff to make sure he's got the ability to spam those axes. And right now, speaking of spamming, spam the chat with FOXA or TLA to let us know who you think will win game one. You may have seen this on Twitter before. We've told y'all to use hashtags, but we've got the technology. We're living in the future, baby. It's Twitch chat. It is there. It has arrived. You don't even need the hashtag. Just let us know in the chat right now with those acronyms who you think is going to be the victor here. We'll be able to tally those up, count them in real time, and see who the fans are truly supporting.
Yeah, it's not just Twitch chat as well. You know, love to you guys out there on YouTube with the rewind.
Yep, YouTube is also able to do this in the chat. It works across pretty much anything. If you've got a chat platform while you're watching the game, you can vote on this one. So let us know, tell us how you're thinking.
We're about to see it in a few seconds here, what you guys are all spamming for. So look out for that. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Mickey, they talked about this matchup where Mickey, he's from the LCK. He's from that place, born and raised. And now he's able to just push Damonte out. And yeah, that'll definitely affect it right off the bat.
Team Liquid Academy, a lot of fans thinking they're going to be victorious here, having about a 60-40 split over Echo Fox Academy. And I mean, this is the team that was #1 in the regular split.
Fox is pushing. It's going back and forth.
Trying, man.
I'm looking at the little bar. It is moving very slightly. It is real time.
It's a tug of war.
This is
it's
real
a tug
time
of war.
fights.
But Team Liquid Academy, I'm not surprised to see people having the faith in them. I mean, like I said, this is the team that placed #1 in the regular split. They're a team that when they win very explosively. And now Hard comes in, flashes, manages to get the stun, landing the follow-up. You've got the grounding effect from Mickey and First Blood over to Team Liquid Academy.
Yeah, because Mickey had outplayed, got that early level up, went after Damonte, chased him down, got both summoner spells, didn't blow his own. Hard just visits. That's First Blood going over.
That was a very aggressive play from Team Liquid Academy as well. Just the flash into the attempted stun, and it pays off. I mean, look at all those minions that he's now losing.
Yeah, they're going over to the jungler. This feels good as a jungler. Feels bad as a mid laner, but...
Oh, yeah, it's like, oh, sorry you died, man. Don't worry, I'll take care of all those creeps for you.
I have to kill them.
For Odd Orange, it feels great. For Damonte, that's going to set him really far behind. 12 CS to 26.
Yeah, that is actually insane. And Mickey had gotten the early level up on him earlier, pushed him out with the presence of mind. And then right there, you can see Mickey is still zoning him with the summoner spells down. And that was a big minion wave. When gigantic minion waves like that are about to crash, the jungler has to be around to hover. And you saw Odd Orange was there on the side, but it's still just a little bit too late.
Wasn't there quite fast enough. That buffed stun duration on the Skarner for Hard. Remember, this is after the nerfs came in, so it's 1.25 seconds.
0.25.
0.25. Get the memes in there while you can. Get them while they're hot. But it's still long enough to allow that miasma to come in from Mickey. Set the play up, and we talked so much about both these guys. Mickey being your ex-LCK pro, Damonte just enjoying some recent LCS stage time only this past week. So if one of these two can get really far ahead, if one of these two can suddenly take the wheel for their team, they can drive this straight into a quick victory.
Yeah, and Damonte actually had played pretty well in the LCS. There were only a few times where I really thought he had messed up. His team fighting positioning was actually kind of the biggest critique that I had of him. But otherwise, he was outplaying ganks left and right on the Azir, and he seemed to be pretty comfortable. But now he's just getting more experience. And I have to say, being an academy, the most valuable thing you can get is high-level experience against players in a competitive environment, and especially on stage. That's what everybody asks for, is that stage time.
Right. The entire purpose of Academy is to allow these players the opportunity to grow themselves from just really good challenger players into potential competitive candidates.
Really, really
right?
good one.
Into really, really good. This is how you separate the really good from the really, really good. As Hard will now be able to solo down this Ocean Drake, provided he's not found out. There was a Hawk shot fired off there. Odd Orange should be wise to this. Now, Skarner is good at soloing down a Drake, but a Drake and an Olaf's not really something he wants to be taking a bite out of just yet.
Yeah.
The lane of his bottom lane rotating over. Team Liquid Academy still looking to go for this
Hard
one.
is super low.
Odd Orange comes over the wall, looking to maybe steal this one away. He does!
Hard.
Good play from Echo Fox Academy. Hard barely alive, but Papa Chow's able to find the kill, and now this is going to go very far in the way of Echo Fox. Mickey forced to flash over the wall to get himself away. 3 kills plus a Drake. Echo Fox Academy strikes gold with that.
Yeah, 3 kills, a Drake for nothing. They end up having nobody drop there on the side of Echo Fox. And that right there, the Skarner, he's caught with his pants down. He's doing the Drake. It takes you pretty low. The team has priority to actually get in there, but Mickey gets forced out. And the fact that the Skarner took so much damage It was huge. And also, it was an Ocean Drake. That thing slows you, so it takes even longer for him to get away when he's trying to kite.
It's one of those more annoying Drakes to try to take. Let's take another look at how this happened with the Blast Cone.
Yeah, Blast Cone over. Hard's like, oh no, I gotta get away. And then Smite goes down in favor of Odd Orange. And then Hard's like, I have no way out. He just gets slapped there by Papa Chow with the tongue. And then Papa Chow is gonna grab the Olaf, throw him over the wall, make sure he can't be burst.
Good job there from Papa Chow, both securing the kill and making sure that his opponents couldn't do the same. Exactly what Echo Fox needed, and you can't help but put a little bit of blame on Team Liquid Academy for that one. I mean, that wasn't particularly just Echo Fox collapsing and responding well. It was Team Liquid Academy putting themselves in that spot to begin with.
Yeah, getting that Ocean Drake solo and then having to collapse like that and still not even getting it, that's actually kind of a huge blunder there. But another thing I want to talk about here is I was just watching Hard. Hard got blue buff. Mickey was sitting in mid lane with no mana. He was gonna back, so it was one of those, I'm doing blue buff. Mid laner's like, I'm just backing, I got gold, all this, I'm gonna refill my mana pool
Jungler
anyway.
says, I'm not stopping.
Yeah, Jungler just does it, so Hard, I mean,
That's the solo
has he been watching your Skarner? Is that what's going on?
Hey, I've already told y'all my rule about blue buffs. If he's doing well, he doesn't need it. If he's doing poorly, he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, I feel that way about the Skarner, though. When you stand on the spires, they give you mana. Like, you should never have any problems with mana in your jungle at all.
You need those cooldowns, man. Come on, he wants to get more of those big pulls off.
Yeah.
Big game changers.
Oh, wait. Speaking of big game changers here, Odd Orange, oh, he's actually
Mickey might be in a little bit of trouble here. Odd Orange does have the ultimate available.
Yeah.
Demonte trying to come in, look to cut him off here. This is going to be a pretty easy kill for these guys. Echo Fox grabbing themselves yet another one.
But wait.
But will Odd Orange walk right into the Scorpion's nest? Hard coming around the corner, not finding that for the stun. Odd Orange goes over the wall. Hard will not pursue that one. But one thing I do want to point out, Hard counter jungled this without taking the Spire. Good choice from him to stay secret, but he's not a secret anymore. Flashing away from the arrow, getting away for now. Papa Chow still has the ability to go after him, flash into the tongue lash if he needs to, but he won't decide to expend those resources. Doesn't feel like it's worth it. Echo Fox Academy goes right back to what they were doing.
Yeah, definitely not worth it there, but with everything that's been happening, because Mickey flashed to try and get out of the Dragon Pit earlier and saved himself there, cost his life here, and now you see Demonte up in CS, or at least even after this wave is cleared. So everything that happened that early game between those two mid laners pretty neutralized by the junglers.
This game still almost 2,000 gold in the favor of Echo Fox Academy, though, just because of how well they've been playing as a team, and largely thanks to that big swing that happened around the Drake Pit. That is one of the plays that defines the tempo of an entire game when you have such a massive difference in the way things are going happen all at once.
And remember in Champion Select, we were talking about how TLA's composition, they want to have the 4 people besides Viper set up to team fight, and then have Viper in a split push scenario where he's winning. Well, he's not winning the lane right now, and then everybody else on the team has died once. So they are definitely not set up on TLA's side at all to even go close to their win condition. Usually you have like a saving grace where one person is feeding and you're like, oh wait, we can play to this side. But right now, TLA, they got to kind of get it back together and get back on track, or else Echo Fox might start running away with the game here. And you can see Viper, he's starting to play a little bit harder there with that press the attack that he's taken on Gnar. Don't always see that one.
But one thing I also want to mention is, remember, it's not just Team Liquid Academy who has to make sure that they keep their heads cool and manage to find a way to stabilize and not let this get worse than it has become. But at the same time, Echo Fox has to not commit the same sins that TLA did, as now Alorum going to find himself getting dove by 2 different people. The aggro onto Hard, who's going to be soaking an awful lot of those turret shots, gets himself out of the way and still gets the kill onto Alorum. Good plays.
And exactly what we were talking about there. They want to get Viper ahead because the other win condition is kind of like, that's going to take more work to get going where you can team fight. Now it might just be, we need to peel and have him split push. If you get Viper far enough ahead, the rest of the team is just on peel duty. You throw down the Miasma, you throw down the Janna ultimate, and you make sure that the Gnar just can get objectives on the side.
But now that Echo Fox Academy is aware that the Team Liquid jungler was on the top side, they're going to push 3 men strong into the bottom lane, lay down some damage onto that tier 1 turret. Remember, turret First Blood still on the table. The only objective we've seen taken so far is that first Ocean Drake.
And Zyrene, it's about to be one of my favorite points in the game as Infernal will be spawning soon. But let's take another look at how Alorum died here.
Your second favorite part, the Skarner Predator gank.
The Skarner gang.
Straight underneath the turret, doesn't matter. Honey Badger's the turret aggro, and then just pulls him right out. And whoa, Mickey dead.
Okay, Mickey gets collapsed on by 4 there in the mid lane. Odd Orange popping the ulti. You're going to see Papa Chow go in the Abyssal Voyage there as well.
Yeah.
Make sure that they pick up that kill. That's death number 2 on the Team Liquid Academy mid laner as that first turret will drop.
And it looked like Fox, they were playing for the bottom turret. Turns out, looks like that mid lane, they're kind of making you go for these weird rotations. And this composition has 2 semi-global ultimates in it, with Demontes on the rise, and then also Papa Chow with the Abyssal Voyage from the Tom Kench. This means that the rotations from Fox will be faster. I don't always expect this from teams that aren't at the pro level, but right underneath pro, you know they have that experience now. I'm from the Challenger days, man.
Oh yeah, the old school times. It's Academy now, man. Times have changed.
It's a different world.
Whole different world, whole different name, but Hard trying to clear out some of these control wards. He might have found himself in a real bad spot. No flash available. Your jungler goes down here. That's going to be Infernal Drake almost guaranteed. Big mistake from Hard as now Demonte will look to punish even further, putting the damage down onto Joey. Can't quite get it. The heal from Shoryu speeding up that Janna just enough to get him out of the way, make sure that the damage doesn't succeed. As now Echo Fox says, all right, we're going to take your blue buff as well. Odd Orange gives that one away to Demonte. They even pass it off to the right guy.
Yep. It looks like, Hard wasn't going to give it over to his mid laner, so Fox Academy, they'll hand it off to their own. Demonte gets it, and it's just going even more perfectly, like every single minute right here for Fox Academy. It just gets better and better for them. Hold on, TP, Joey.
Odd Orange pops the ulti to get himself away. Joey flashed for that as well. Very
even better for Echo Fox
Team
Academy.
Liquid Academy. I know, you're trading these summoner spells for ultimates, and it just feels bad. Team Liquid Academy seems very flustered at this point, but it looks like they might get something here. The flash away from Demonte before he can be locked down by the Miasma. Still trying to get out of this one. Drops the Rune Prison, avoids the slow. Flash into the Petrifying Gaze from Mickey. Still looking to go after him. Blast Cone, and Demonte is out.
He gets the flash from Mickey, and then he also ends up getting away there, having to blow only his flash in the process. So huge from him. He got the ultimates too from 2 other people. This right here, this looks like they root him. Yeah, root him. Just throw down the smackdown. The arrow, ha!
It would have hit.
That was an arrow into Abyssal Voyage. So I said they had 2 semi-global ultimates. I guess they have even more pressure with the arrow on top of it.
And then Hard just not where he needed to be right there. A positioning error that honestly cost his team
He was
a
by
lot.
the dragon. That's where everybody should be right now.
Team?
By the dragon, that's where I would call it. Everybody, it's their fault, not mine.
So let's go back to Champion Select right now, because when we saw that Olaf first locked in on the side of Echo Fox Academy, you commented how this works really well into the Skarner, which is another one of those very common like S-tier picks in the jungle right now. And it's honestly paying off. We're seeing how Odd Orange 2-0 and 2 on this Olaf, 4 out of 6 kill participation. He's just being a part of all these different plays. He's getting involved, and he's never afraid that, oh, if Hard's there, I can't be there, because he knows he has that edge.
Exactly. Once you get ahead of the enemy jungler and you have the counter matchup, it just feels phenomenal. You feel pretty unstoppable because usually you have to think about the answer. Oh, if I gank this, the counter gank could come through. Do we win the 2-on-2? But he pretty much wins all the 2-on-2s that would possibly happen here. He just has to worry about collapses from the other team. And now they have Realm Warp, Ash Arrow, and they have this Abyssal Voyage and Teleport. So pretty much wherever he goes, somebody else can join. So Odd Orange should have full dominion over the map.
The name of the game is a 4,000 gold lead right now for Echo Fox Academy as Odd Orange looks to pick up that Rift Herald for himself. And you can see how that gold lead's distributed on your screen right now. About 700 of it in the difference between the junglers. 1,000 difference between those mid laners. We said early on it might be a little bit worrying for Demonte because he fell behind after losing that big minion wave to that first gank from Hard. But ever since then, he has recovered with grace and poise.
Yeah, they've been able to pick off Mickey a few times. And Mickey, we talked about kind of how TLA, them being first was something people weren't always expecting because they had pretty unbridled aggression, and a lot of that stemmed from Mickey. Mickey, something like flips in his head, and he's like, I gotta go. I gotta kill this guy. And it's just pretty much all in. You saw even there, he's like, I'm gonna flash, I'm gonna ulti this guy's back to make sure that we slow him, and he just throws a lot to try and make a play happen. And when it works, it definitely works. But when it doesn't, he puts himself behind.
It's a very heaven or hell play style. You either are the hero of the day, you completely go off, you dominate and control the game from start to finish, or after a couple of those plays strike out, you're quickly finding yourself behind the 8 ball. You don't have those resources to expand anymore. It just seems like you're at the mercy of what your opponents want to do. And right now with a 3-0 turret advantage, with 6-2 lead in kills, they got the Rift Herald, they've gotten both Drakes so far. Echo Fox has every possible lead.
Yeah, they have leads pretty much across the board. Only thing is top lane, that's it, but it's a tank. Aloran picked for this matchup to kind of neutralize it. Like you said, his job is containment duty for Viper, right? He's the zookeeper. He's got to keep the Viper in the cage.
Right, you gotta have one of those little snake handler sticks.
Yeah.
Pick him up so he can't hiss at you and bite you really ferociously.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Make sure Harry Potter doesn't get in the place. No glass disappearing. Man, I hate snakes. I hate snakes.
Well, Aloran is apparently doing a good job of keeping those snakes away from you and me and Team Liquid Academy's chances of winning and everything else, because as long as he keeps Viper contained and keeps that win condition offline, the rest of the map spells out Echo Fox in all capital letters. These guys are doing exactly what they want to be doing. And for these teams that have finally made it to this best-of-5 situation, going back to what we talked about at the very beginning of this is where you prove yourself, right? I mean, you already proved yourself being one of the top 4, making it to playoffs, but now to perform in playoffs, to show you can adapt to this best-of-5 situation, and especially being the team that has to go up against the #1 squad in the regular split, Echo Fox would be saying something with wins here.
And they're pretty close in this first game. Remember, it's a best-of-5. And Mount Drake up in a minute. That's why it's slowed down. There's really... TLA goes, okay, pump the brakes. No more fighting.
Yep.
And Fox goes, okay, now it's time to pick up the objectives that they cede over to us. They're going to wait for power spikes on things like the Kog'Maw and the Cassiopeia, and they're going to try to split push later. But there's a minute on this Mountain Drake. The Mountain Drake will just fuel the take for Echo Fox to get that Baron afterwards. Remember, they have Cho'Gath, and they have true damage from the Olaf. So you can expect like a 1,500 burst on that Baron, and makes it very hard to even contest or steal.
And when the next fight does happen, whether it's around the Drake or the Baron or whatever, I'm really looking to see how composed Team Liquid Academy looks, because
Abyssal Voyage.
I'm not quite sure how well it's going to work out for him. Knock up into Chain Steel. Aloran takes a big old bite out of Viper, gets another kill for Echo Fox Academy. That's his first personal kill of the game. But getting that set up with only 10 seconds left to spawn on the Drake means objectives, objectives, objectives.
Absolutely. They get Viper, the containment in full effect. They bring down Papa Chow and Lost. They pick him up, and they kind of shut down the one thing that was kind of going in TLA's favor. They had the CS advantage, and they had the fact that there was that kill earlier for Viper. And now you can see Lost is pretty much the one doing the Drake. You're going to have Odd dip down here for a second, but then it's about resetting. You can see Tom Kench, Papa Chow backs to get wards refilled to go towards that Baron.
And speaking of those wards, look at the way the map looks right now, Zyrene. The entire jungle of Echo Fox Academy is dark because they know they don't have to play on their own side of the map because they are so far in control of this game. They're constantly pushing up. They've got wards down in the enemy jungle. They're always keeping an eye on those rotations and how they can further utilize those semi-globals you brought up earlier to build the collapses and build the plays and make this game that much quicker.
But it's a reset timer from Echo Fox, so they have to give up the push on top and mid, and that gives TLA priority over the Baron area. You can see the Baron is warded up already for them. If they can get picks, then something might go their way.
4 people hanging out in the brush there, but when they see that it's the Olaf and the Tom Kench clearing things away, that isn't really the ideal targets to look to make a play on. Hard does have the flash ult available on Skarner, but remember that he has to be incredibly conscious of where Papa Chow is. It doesn't matter if you flash ult Demonte or Lost. If Tom Kench can immediately devour them, it's all for naught.
Yeah, your best target is somebody who's away from the Tom Kench or the Tom Kench himself. That's really what you have to look for here. They'll give this over to Shoryu so that he'll have the red buff during this team fight. But you can see even just the item difference between Lost and Shoryu. It's just Lost pretty much a whole item ahead.
We've talked before in different broadcasts about how these Rageblade users, Rageblade feels like such a powerful one-item spike compared to what you would see on a traditional crit build, like what you would get from an Ashe or a Tristana or a Caitlyn. But the thing is about those crit builds, Zyrene, they scale pretty darn hard when you look at multiple items being built together, and 2 of those done on the Ashe, pretty scary. Once he hits that 3 mark, that's when the switch is officially flipped, and he's come online.
Here's the semi-globals to get them into the Baron faster. The Rise ultimate and the Abyssal Voyage. Skarner's gonna have his Scorpion legs, try to get him a little bit faster.
All right, fortunate timing on the blue trinket will let Team Liquid Academy know what's going on right now. Echo Fox thinking about whether or not they want to continue this. TP coming in on the backside of the pit. Alorum going to be on some zoning duty. TP continues. They're deciding to go for it. The Devour from Alorum is there. The Baron's going to be secured. Mickey looking to put some damage into Demonte. But Team Liquid Academy cannot stop the effort from Echo Fox, who secures the Baron.
Alorum TPs to the right side of the Baron behind the pit. He flashes into the pit to go ahead and feast it. Like, all right.
That's how you do it. That's how you make sure. Your smite's 800, my feast is 1,000. Get away from my Baron.
He zones him with the TP, completes it, and then just flashes in. Yeah, I was like, the Cho'Gath isn't there. This looks okay for TLA, but then they stop damage with it at 2100 for a very long time until their Cho'Gath actually is the person who arrives. And it makes Viper cancel his own TP.
I mean, at that point, you know that you're not going to win the smite fight because the Cho'Gath has the greatest quote-unquote smite available. So you just have to back away. Team Liquid Academy, upon conceding that objective, now down 7,500 gold. Echo Fox pushing 3 different lanes at once.
Yeah, and this is 22 minutes in. They basically have snowballed this game off those early fights and the Olaf, Auto Orange really getting a big piece of them. And now they get to kind of capitalize on the investment they had made earlier. And the itemization that we were seeing from Echo Fox, I actually really like. The Adaptive Helm from Alorum is effective against both the Cassiopeia and the Kog'Maw, but hold on hard, looking for somebody. Gonna go after
to make it happen. Goes after the Tahm Kench, realizing he can't save himself. Thick Skin's not enough. Shoryu grabbing the kill on that one. Unstoppable Olaf won't be unstoppable for too much longer. Popping the Righteous Glory here as well. Echo Fox continues to push in the top lane. Alorum coming in to try to stop these backs, just waste a little bit more time. Pings coming out from Team Liquid saying we need to go top, we need to stop this push from Demonte, who nearly has the inhibitor turret down. One more auto attack will do it. That drops. And that means that despite the fact they lost their support, Echo Fox Academy is once again coming up victorious on these trades. Tier 2 falls in the mid lane. They continue pushing up towards inhibitor turret number 2. Inhibitor number 1 still under pressure from Demonte and his buddy the cannon minion. Yep, absolute craziness.
The one thing that I liked wasn't only, hold on, trying to engage with TP from behind Alorum.
Plays happen.
Oh,
Papa Chow has decided to utilize the Summoner Spellbook coming in from behind. Joey pops the ulti, keeping himself and his team safe. But Demonte, the cavalry, has arrived on its magical steed into the back line. He manages to finish off Viper. Now, can they find anything else? Demonte taken low, taken down. But they're also going to grab hard on the side of Team Liquid Academy. Lost. Taking the credit for that one as Mickey tries to slither away. Papa Chow delivering Lost forward, but he delivers him into his own demise. But now Mickey still in some danger. Alorum's going to find the damage on that one. Shoryu continues to fire into the lines of Echo Fox, and now he may be able to clean this one up. Papa Chow deciding to get the hell out of dodge, but he's thrown up into the air. The Odd Orange providing some covering fire with the axes.
I don't think he has the mana.
Shoryu wants to chase this one. One more auto attack could do it.
That's off.
Tries to get it. Nope. Can't find that one. One more big old slobbery tennis ball. I don't know. Woo! What a fight. Woo!
All right. Man, that was so long there. That was from the Baron cannon minion going down. It was the first casualty of the fight.
That was quite an extended skirmish.
Yeah. Oh, man. They go in. Viper gets the slow, and then they get the knock-up on him. He flashes just to kind of force this, and that's Papa Chow flanking with the Tahm Kench because they're going to collapse here. They see that the Kog'Maw isn't there, the primary damage dealer, and then they get to go ahead, and Viper gets picked up first by Demonte coming in with the ultimate. But such a good ulti there from Mickey on the bottom half of the screen. He got 3 to 4 people in that ultimate there. That really saved the team fight for them. And then Mickey is just trying to play out of his mind here. Ends up getting lost with the Q. Papa Chow picks him up and throws him out. But then the shield from Joey keeps him alive long enough, and Mickey gets that first kill, and then Shoryu, he flashes to get this one here. And then it looked like another was going to go down when Joey flashed after.
Meanwhile, back in the present day, Echo Fox Academy secures themselves their 4th Elemental Drake of the game, and we see that they got 3,337 gold from that Baron power play, building that lead even further, putting themselves in a spot where they're almost 10,000 ahead. They've got the top lane inhibitor down. Team Liquid Academy thinking about maybe trying to make something happen mid lane, but this is where the game gets difficult for Hard trying to engage when he doesn't have a flash up because there's so many ways for Echo Fox to stop him.
Yeah. and you kind of just have to threaten and then just clear waves. Like Viper, he'll go ahead and clear out this top wave. He's the one who's on inhibitor duty, kind of just clearing out those super minions. And now, there's nothing really to play for on the map, so there's zero reason for TLA to leave their base or be in a really kind of disadvantaged situation. And that's where it gets hard for Fox, because Fox pretty much had to force, or they set up, and 2 minutes later, the Baron spawns, and they have 2 Mountain Drakes. That's kind of the slow plan to go for, but it's the one that has less variance, so I assume that's what they'll go for here, is just controlling the Baron when it's up in a minute 40.
And at this point for Team Liquid Academy, the light shining in the darkness appears to be Shoryu on this Kog'Maw. Rageblade completed, Hurricane completed, getting some more attack speed next. This is the guy that could turn this into a win for your team, but he is going to need to be protected. If Odd-Orange and Alorum can make their way to that Kog'Maw, it will be a disaster. Right now, though, Team Liquid Academy, very, very cautious. They recognize the mistakes they've made earlier on in the game. They know how they've been playing a role in setting themselves behind as well as their opponents capitalizing on that mistake. They want to make sure they're not giving away anything else for free. We're at the point in the game now, Zyrene, where if you give away too much more, it's just over.
Yeah, and I'm just loving the builds here, because people are building so that they can go ahead and counter. Like, it's very smart in terms of the builds. Like, I love the adaptive helm. I talked about how it's good against the Casio and the Cog. I love the Banner of Command that Papa Chow got right after the Baron. And he also is now the only person who has QSS. So he's on QSS duty. If he gets ulted by Skarner, he QSS's. If anybody else gets ulted by Skarner, it's his job to devour them and make sure that that play doesn't work. And then you have the flip side. Joey got first item Mikhail's for the Ash Arrow and the Root to make sure the Kog'Maw doesn't get caught out or anything like that. So I'm loving these kind of adaptive builds here for the situation. There's the ulti.
Oh, that stun onto Hard. He's forced to flash away, and blowing that flash is so critical right now. That's one more flash that can't be a play being made onto an Echo Fox carry.
Builds are there, but the desperation is also there for TLA. Mikhail's came out at the same time as the flash and pretty much made it so that both of those, one of them was needed, not both.
Losing both doesn't feel good for these guys, especially with the Baron available. You're going to see the Blast Cone used in conjunction with the Abyssal Voyage. They wisely don't hit the wards, not giving away what they're doing right now. If you're Team Liquid Academy, you have to know this is going down, but how do you stop it?
Yeah, and Papa Chow just clears out the wards with it at like 1,000 HP. Like, yeah, you just have
just
to watch.
in case you were wondering, yeah, we did it.
Now they just get to push up the mid lane. The Banner of Command was used previously. So I don't think there's a Baron Banner Cannon minion out on the map just yet. But now they get to push. That top no longer has that inhibitor turret from before, but the inhib is respawned.
All right, Team Liquid Academy. This is the part of the show where you have to rally and dig deep to find that power within yourselves if you want to have a chance at surviving here, because Echo Fox is so strong.
Interesting situation. Damonte is top, and he's 2 levels up over Mickey, but he doesn't have Realm Warp, so he couldn't really go for a flank play or a join the fight kind of really fast play. Instead, he's looking at, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll just pressure this inhib. If they engage on us, then we disengage. And that's why everybody was pretty much backed up, but there he goes, gets suppressed.
Damonte in a lot of trouble here. Grounded, stunned up, having the shield from the Seraph's Embrace, and now Hard without the flash, gonna be in a lot of trouble. Alora munches him, grabs himself that kill as Echo Fox Academy now 5 versus 4. They keep their own mid laner alive. They'll continue the push. Inhibitor under siege. Shoryu will try to stop it while that W is active. Echo Fox Academy will back up, but it's only going to be online a couple more seconds. That's their green light. They go right back in. Inhibitor drops in just a moment. One more auto attack from that big old Cho'Gath will do it. He has one thrown down, puts Alorum in some trouble, but Papa Chow.
Yeah.
The Cho'Gath is so big, you can still see him just through the Tom Kench belly.
You gotta have one of those big food baby bellies.
Yeah, that's a food baby if I ever seen one, but Echo Fox Academy, they don't care what's going on. They just want more inhibitors. They grab 2 now. The bottom lane, the only spot left for them to focus. They'll make a classy exit, utilizing the power of that Realm Warp that was now back off cooldown. They'll regroup, get themselves back, take the blue buff on the way out because why not, and start what very well could be the last push of the game.
And like you said, Flowers, the flash was the big thing because Hard and Joey were not kind of on the same page from before. He doesn't have flash to make that flash play at the start. Because if he can actually just rush in and flash him there, he's in a much worse position, and he doesn't get the root off, which counters a lot of the Skarner pull, where he really wanted to pull him further back into his base. That would allow Viper to hit him, Viper to hit that Mega Gnar faster, and then for them to have a better position for the fight. But the root from Damonte, as the Skarner ultimate came out, really did put a huge damper on it.
Lot of consequences for just some of those things that seem like they might be smaller missteps. Losing the flash sometimes can be something that doesn't matter a lot because 5 minutes passes before another opportunity comes up. But Echo Fox, realizing the fact that that flash was blown, realizing what that meant for them, was wisely able to set these plays up. And I mean, even if your Rise gets caught out, we saw it, they're far enough ahead, he didn't even die. They had the knowledge to recognize that fact. They knew that even if their opponents got the drop on them, they could still turn the fight around. Now they've got that 5-man push in the bottom lane. The other lanes will automatically push with the help of the super minions. Baron buff only alive for another 20 seconds or so here. Cho'Gath Rupture finding its way onto Viper. Hard gonna look to maybe try to find something here, just turning on the shield, threatening a little bit, but there's not a lot of plays to be made, not without that flash. He still has a little bit longer to go on that, about a minute. Viper wants to go in, getting the Mega Gnar down onto 2, gonna be killed nigh immediately. Alorum trying to get himself back, Papa Chow on rescue duty. Odd Orange has to flash away now as well. The Rupture not gonna find the mark onto Hard, who even needs it. Damonte's got the damage loss, gonna be chasing him down as well. Mickey gets turned to a nice pair of snakeskin boots. His Team Liquid Academy heads for the hills, and Damonte will clean up the remaining members. Echo Fox Academy in a very strong showing in game number 1. It starts off with a first blood against them and goes nothing but in their favor from there. They go up 1-0.
1-0 over the team that started this semifinal with that first seed and had selected red side. And it looks like Echo Fox are just saying, we don't care what you play, we're going to play our style. And they were able to counter Mickey in that mid lane, as well as the whole game plan.
I think that game plan felt so good too, because you touched on this at the beginning of the game, where they said, okay, we want red side, we're going to give that counter pick to our top laner, Viper's a carry, well, we want to enable him. And Echo Fox just said, okay, he's your carry, he's what you want to enable. He can't play his champion, by the way.
Exactly.
He doesn't get his champion, so now you put him on Gnar, that he's played one time throughout the split. It's not one of his signature champions, and he can't be that carry.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here as well is TLA's strat coming in best of fives. I like strategies where they say, let's focus on one thing in particular and let's have our hypothesis tested, right? Is it true or is it not true? They banned Caitlyn, Xayah, took Kog'Maw, Jhin, and Varus were also banned. So they made it push down 5 champions, and the Ashe was picked, and it was still good.
Yep.
So I don't think they go back to that strategy of banning out Lost over and over again. Maybe they ban out a few champions, but not to that extent, because now it looks like trying to push Alorum maybe off of tanks or have a more volatile top lane matchup might be something that they could go after instead.
Well, one thing that Team Liquid Academy also has to consider is what they did to land themselves in these own difficult situations. The first replay I want to take a look at here, 6 minutes into the game, Team Liquid makes a call for a Drake that gives Echo Fox 3 kills.
Yeah, this was kind of the beginning of the end where Odd Orange went over, he gets the smite, and they end up killing Hard, and they get even more on top of it. Papa Chow able to pick up that first one, then they get that second one onto Joey, and then they kill Shoryu, so they kill the bottom lane right out of the gate as well as the jungler, and they put that entire bottom half of the map in a hole, and then you saw Odd Orange from there pretty much focus mid to get Damonte back on track, and that really ended up being a winning formula.
And it seems kind of funny because you say the beginning of the end, but it's 6 minutes into the game, but it's true because from that point on, Liquid seemed like they were always on the back foot. They were always trying to find a way to respond, and they never had that sort of agency that they did ever again.
Well, because when you have a scaling composition, having those early plays go bad means you have to wait even longer until you scale, and on top of that, the enemy is going to be able to have more proactivity throughout the map for those portions of the game. So it really does kind of, enhance a weakness of a composition when you shouldn't even be playing for that Drake in the first place, right? You're kind of trying to pick up that Drake because it's a gimme, because you have lane priority mid and bottom, and they kept fighting over it. And that's kind of the mistake there, is he should have just leashed the dragon the first time when Olaf went through. But I don't blame them, because it's kind of the typical play is you do have priority, you get Drake. but they countered it by blast coning in and going after him, which doesn't really go by the textbook, but then the compositions came through, and the one that had to scale wasn't in a better spot at the time.
So we've talked about Echo Fox getting started off in the Drake pit. Now I want to take a look 22 minutes into the game. Echo Fox Academy, the Baron split plus the 3-for-3 fight.
Yeah, this was interesting because they actually had the Tahm Kench dead during this time, and he had Baron bannered the cannon minion there. So everybody's just buffing it up, and kind of the spirit of Tahm Kench lives on as he kills the turret. And now he just gets to keep hitting, push up, and they have this split push with Damonte that can't really be answered. So you have to hard engage. They get the slow, they get the knock-up in return, but then Viper flashing after, and then when Papa Chow respawned, he tries to come through here. But watch Mickey. Mickey's kind of the big guy here who may have turned it around for just a moment, where he comes around his Cassiopeia. This ulti right here at the bottom, actually, where he turns around. He actually already used it, and he actually got 4 members of the team in that ultimate. So Mickey was doing a lot of work in this fight to kind of make it a 3-for-3, because this should have just been a situation where you just flat out lose it as TLA, but Mickey is just playing incredibly well. But heal comes out. It's still not enough, though, but Shoryu, whew. We thought the Kog'Maw was about to just take over the game if he gets those last 2 kills and try to reset the map completely.
Unfortunately for him, he didn't quite have the mana to do it. Echo Fox was able to continue to build their lead throughout the rest of the game, which honestly wasn't that much longer, because here's one look more at the final fight.
It looked like Viper just wanted to do something in this game because it was so frustrating, where the composition's not built around him being part of it, maybe showing up for fights if they're ahead. So he leaps in, gets the Gnar scoop backwards onto 2 people, but it's still just beefy tanks. Alorum doesn't die because he's this enormous Cho'Gath, and then they just get to train them down here, where Damonte shows, all right, he's definitely fed. Let's just get the game over with.
I think that's a good point, where it looked like Viper wanted to go in and do something. He wanted to try to take things into his own hands, and we saw what looked like frustrated decisions being made by Team Liquid at multiple different points in the game when they fell behind. And I want to go back to what we heard from the players before all this started, because it was one of the Team Liquid Academy sound bites that said, I think they'll lose the first game and tilt off the edge of the earth.
Yeah.
It was Joey saying that. So now I'm looking at Team Liquid Academy's mental. Are they boom after game 1? Because if they are, that's going to be a tough issue going into these next couple games.
Yeah, because there's always that issue of tilt and kind of looking at, is this team going to kind of fall apart? Mickey, he got that early kill, right? He had the outplay on Damonte, and then this guy that he outplayed level 2, level 3 is now taking over the game. That's frustrating. And then Viper not being able to really be a part of the composition is also frustrating. I don't blame them for those choices at the end, because that's one of those ones where, as the Gnar, you go, I'm never going to get a better time to do this. I have to leap in, hope that
It's
they
a
make a
snowball's
mistake.
chance,
Exactly. Because they had 2 inhibs down at the same time as well.
You can't just, if you just allow them to push up, take all 3 inhibs, then you just play the super minion clearing game until you slowly lose.
Yeah.
He'd rather go down in the blaze of glory, try to make that, maybe it'll pay off, maybe I can get the slam onto the right people and have this work out. But unfortunately for them, it didn't. And now this team, number 1 in the regular split, goes down 1-0 in the best of 5. And like I said at the end of the game itself, a very convincing 1-0 for Echo Fox. When a team can get ahead and they don't end up throwing that away, yeah, you could say that the 3-for-3, where the Cassiopeia ends up outplaying a lot of them and Lost goes too far forward and gets baited by the shields, that was a little bit sketchy. But even then, that play worked out better for Echo Fox when you take into account the turrets they got over the course of it, and they just didn't lose control, which is a very promising sign for an Academy team.
Yeah, and something that we're hearing as well is that Echo Fox have chosen red side for game 2, which swaps the sides. And we talked about how TLA were banning Caitlyn, Xayah, Jhin, and Varus. When you're on blue side, you do have to kind of throw some bans out there, like Azir if you're picking Ryze, and kind of go after things like Swain unless you're going to pick it. So there are some things, I think, on blue side, but you do get a little bit more in terms of power picks as opposed to counter picks. But TLA had selected red to try and get a counter pick. That didn't work out for them. So I want to see what Fox does with this advantage.
Right. They know that Viper can't have last pick automatically this time. Maybe it'll change things up. We'll have to see exactly how that all puts together in the second champion select. We're headed for a break right now. But when we return, see if Echo Fox jumps out to a 2-game lead or if Liquid Academy can tie this whole thing up. You're watching the North American Academy League semifinals. Don't go anywhere. Good play from Echo Fox Academy. Hard, barely alive, but Papa Chow's able to find the kill, and now this is going to go very far in the way of Echo Fox.
I'm TPing here. I'm TPing here. If Skarner can't get in, wait. I'm gonna flash over. I'm flashing over and finishing. When are you gonna
Finish.
What's your damage? No. Nice.
Way Papa Chow delivering Lost forward, but he delivers him into his own demise. But now Mickey still in some danger. Mickey gets turned to a nice pair of snakeskin boots. His team Liquid Academy heads for the hills, and DeMonte will clean up the remaining members.